let's say we want to find the angle, and we can just, we don't want to use that symbol. We'll just say it's A, right? We have A here. And now to do that, we just have to rearrange some things. So I want to get this by itself. How do I do that? That means I have to send across some things. Let's send across the B square. What happens when I send that guy across? What happens to him? Is he happy about that? He got sent across to the left-hand side. What will happen to him? How will he express?
Negative B squared.
It'll be negative, right? It'll become negative B squared. He's not happy going across to the left-hand side. It doesn't really matter which side, but his original position was positive. So when you send him across, he becomes negative. So the C squared is positive. So when I send that across, it becomes negative. I guess nobody likes to be pushed around. And then we have equals negative 2b C cosine A. Okay, so now we want to, well, we want to get rid of this negative sign. It doesn't look right. To do that, I'm going to have to multiply both sides by -1. That's how I'll get rid of that. Negative and negative give me a positive. So if I multiply this single term here, because this is one thing here, since they're all multiplied together, if I multiply it by -1, this will become positive. So let's see that. So now I know this will become 2b C cosine A. Okay? But whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other side. So I have to multiply each term by -1. Everybody in here got to get multiplied by -1. So this positive A is going to become negative A. This negative B, when it gets multiplied by -1, it'll become positive B squared. The negative C will become positive C squared. And like I mentioned to you before, the positive A squared now is a minus A squared. And look, we need to get cosine A by itself, so we have to divide both sides by 2bc. So let's do that. 2bc. Whatever you do on one side, make sure you do the same thing on the other side to keep the equation balanced. Math doesn't like to go like a seesaw up and down. It just wants to stay at one level. Everything, the left-hand side must equal the right-hand side. Okay, now look, since this is the same as what's at the bottom, I can simply cross them out. Okay, and what I'd like, if I'm solving for something, I want that to be on my left-hand side. So if this entire fraction here is equal to cosine A, therefore cosine A is equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2bc. Okay? And now I have my formula that I can solve for now. Okay, guys, so what you do, you see how we came up with those original 3 formulas? Now you have a new one, and you can come up with cosine B and what these should look like. And if you put cosine C and what would be in here, you can figure out. Notice this is cosine A, and you got a minus A squared. So you know if this is cosine C, you will have a minus C squared going on in here. Okay, so I know you can build your own angle formulas, and you'll have no issue with that when you need it, when you need them. Okay, now let's substitute. We know what our, so let's go up here. So cosine A equals, the B squared, that was 12. So 12 squared gives me 144. Gives me 144. The C squared, which is 8 times 8, gives me plus 64. Plus 64. Minus A squared, which is 17 times 17. 17 times 17 equals 289. 289 over 2. What's my B? My B is 12. What's my C? My C is 8. Okay. And now, what does this give me? Well, let's just go this way because we're running out of space. So let's add 144. 144 plus 64 equals 208 minus 289 gives me a negative 81. Okay. Over, let's see here, 2. Well, we know that 8 times 12 is 96. So 2 times 96 gives me 192. 192. Now I just have to divide 81 by 192. So 81, and don't forget the negative sign. 81 divided by 192. 192 gives me 0.4. Let's go to 3 decimal places. 0.422. Okay, so let's write that down. And don't forget the negative sign. 0.422. And this is cosine A. But you guys know how to deal with finding the angle. That's what you had for your assignment. Your previous assignment was finding angles. So what do? We find the inverse of cosine, which is cosine -1, open bracket, negative 0.422, close bracket. Okay. And we're almost there. Let's move this out the way for right now. What do you get? So some calculators, like for me, my calculator, I have to type in 0.422, make sure it's negative. Then I have to go to my second button and hit cosine. And I get 114.9. So I can round that off to 115. So my angle is 115. Can somebody tell me how they did it with their programmable calculator? What do you have to do with the programmable calculator? What are the steps that you take to get 114.9? How do you do it? Anybody want to take us through those steps? It's the first thing you did? Yeah,
So you just have to put your shift button,
first
put
thing.
cos, and then open brackets, then your then 0.422,
Negative, right? Make sure you put the negative.
then the negative,
Mhm.
and then you put the other. You just have to put your another bracket and your equal sign and done.
And you get 114.9. You got like something like that.
114.96.
Very good. All right, and then we round it up to 115 degrees. So we know that if we had used, let's say, the 16.5, we would have gotten a smaller number, maybe much more closer to 10, 110. If you want exactly 110 students, you would have to put in 16.5 and all those decimal places if you want exactly 110 degrees. And we don't do that, okay? We round off and we estimate, and that's how we can function in life, because you cannot capture all of the decimals. Your calculator doesn't even give you all of the decimals. It gives you an amount that it was programmed to do. So in life, you have to accept that there are limitations to accuracy. All right. Thank you for your attention. I'm going to stop sharing now.